The soldiers who would drop into enemy territory this night had all been kitted out. By 1944, the informal dress they had worn in the desert had been replaced by standard British battle dress, parachute helmet, and rubber-soled boots. All were heavily armed, with a scabbard strapped to the right leg, while on the left there was tied a rope to which a 100-pound kit bag would be attached just before they dropped. Colonel Brian Franks, their commander, a veteran of the war in the shadows in North Africa, Sicily, and Italy, nodded his approval. Most of the men who would jump with him this September night had never taken part in ops before, but they were remarkably calm, getting on with the job with no apparent sign of nerves, not much different from the handful of veterans he would take with him. They filed out in the moonlit night and waddled. They all carried 60-pound packs in addition to all the other gear, to the specially converted Halifax bomber of the Royal Air Force's 161st Special Duty Squadron. The pilot saluted Franks, told him and the rest of the length of the flight, weather conditions, and what they might expect from the enemy. Then they were clambering awkwardly into the four-engined bomber. The interior was bare and cheerless. There were no seats, only sacks and sleeping bags on the floor, and a bucket. "Piss bucket," the sergeant dispatcher told them cheerfully. "First man to use it empties it afterwards." Thereupon, he started handing out flasks of tea and coffee and packets of wads, thick sandwiches of corned beef and hard cheese, standard British Army fare on ops like these. Under Colonel Frank's supervision, the young troopers lay down on the floor, while the former returned the salute of the base commander, glimpsed outside on the tarmac. It was a tradition in the Special Duty Squadron that these daring young men, who might be dead before the night was out, had to be honored by the presence of the airfield's highest-ranking officer. The lights inside the fuselage went out. The bomber trembled as the pilot ran his four engines at full power. Satisfied that all four were running sweetly, he eased the throttles forward. The Halifax started to rumble down the runway. The last of the flare path lights loomed up to the left and right. The pilot pulled back the stick, and they were airborne. Slowly, the pilot started to circle in order to gain height. Franks, sitting with his back to the metal fuselage, could feel it getting colder and colder. But he didn't snuggle beneath the blankets and sacks as his young troopers had already done.